Welcome to the Rusted Garden Homestead. In today's episode of Friday Morning Ramblings, we'll tour the garden. I'm just going to show you really what's producing. Today is July 30th. We are outside in my no-dig garden, and this is the first time really in I think the 3 years, maybe 4 years that I've had this, that a deer actually came inside and started eating the plants that are in here, the tomato plants specifically. Thank goodness they're not going after the watermelon. I did put watermelon in about 4 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago, maybe as transplants. They're doing really well. You still might even have time for some of the faster growing bush type watermelons. We're also going to talk about what you can continue to plant. So I have potatoes growing in this bed. In this bed, it's really harvest time. I just, put in the potato fork, and this is what I pulled out just in this little space. So I'm actually going to have that for breakfast. Those are poblanos back there. They're doing well. And I really came in here, cleaned out this area a couple days ago. I'm going to try and get my garden really into a little bit better shape. It's not terrible. It's in a pretty good place. Again, today's July 30th. So the diseases, check my books, been tracking about what's going on here, really roll in heavily July 15th really to August 15th, and that is the time you can see the deer chewed down all the sweet potatoes. These are going to be fine. There's some talk, I always like to say on the internet, that if you prune back the green growth of your sweet potatoes, you get better sweet potatoes. So we'll see if that's true. Deer, maybe they're helping me out. So I was saying, just want to cut in. Let me know if you're interested in cooking videos, and I will put in little shorts right into the ramblings rather than doing a whole cooking video. This is what I'm pulling out of the garden as I ramble through. Potatoes, onion, jalapenos, oil, salt, brown it up until it's really to your liking. Then the tomatoes and basil will go in. You don't want to overcook that. Stick around, I'll show you what it looks like when I'm finished. Maybe I'll throw an egg on there too. A lot of the diseases roll in here July 15th to August 15th, and that's when I get tired out as a gardener too. So I slacked up on spraying. Cucumbers don't look so good. They're going to be okay. I've got those waves of cucumbers going in. The deer have chewed down. The cowpeas, they're starting to come back. I'll just let them do their thing. Those are the artichokes. I love just the purple flowers. I just want to show them off again. They're just beautiful. And the artichoke plant is sending up some new growth. Maybe I'll get, a couple more flowers before the end of the year. The season is long here in Maryland Zone 7, and I want to talk about that too. I did a series on food emergency, getting your garden started. We'll walk over to those plants there, but they are producing nicely. And the zucchini actually, 44 days from putting seed into the ground, I think it was June 16th. The plant is massive, and I have a zucchini on there that was really ready a couple days ago. So I'll show you that. Tomatoes look good, tons of tomatoes. Plants, I've been really taking care of the tomato plants so they don't look so bad. There's like yellowing in places. That's really from the heat. But look at all the nice looking tomatoes in there. This cucumber plant is going to be left to sprawl. It's doing well. There's no diseases on the leaves. I've been spraying this. So I have waves of cucumbers in my garden. So when you see the beat up plants, I'm not too worried. But lots of great growth. Cucumbers in there. I've lifted the shade cloth. It was a little bit cooler yesterday. Cucumber. This is what the sweet potato vines outside should look like right now. Right in here is the experiment for planting the cool weather crops. The radishes really took off. They're kind of leggy. I think that's from the heat. I don't think I'm going to get any bulbs. We'll see, but I've been eating the greens, so you can actually eat the greens. Maybe started them a little bit too early. What I think was that the peas can go in really early here in Maryland. I think I did that right. I'm going to put in tons of peas over the next week in different places. That's all going to get weeded out. That will be peas in there. So this is progressing. I like the shade cloth. I will be using it a lot more next year. In fact, I ordered some shade cloth. I'm going to set up a shade cloth garden this week also. The other thing that I got right is carrots. Carrots can really go in now here in Maryland Zone 7 or in the East Coast in certain places. They're slow growers, so they do appreciate this warmth now to get germinated, to get started. Then that cool weather is going to roll in. And I encourage you to experiment, because this was started early, under shade cloth, a little bit early. Some of the plants are doing better. It's giving me data really for next year. Awesome looking watermelon. I have watermelon, cantaloupe in different places. Some of them I kind of let go just to see what they do, what happens with the diseases. I don't mind spraying, but I don't want to be kind of a slave to having to spray the garden with different sprays every week all over the place. So I'm kind of seeing what the plants can do. Later season planted watermelons seem to do okay. I mean, these are beautiful. I'm going to actually trellis them right up this wire mesh. We'll get peas or something into there. That's the tower I did a while back. Just want to show you that that is growing and working well. Been eating the sweet peppers off here. The plants aren't getting huge, but they are so healthy. Whole key is keeping them watered. Bush beans, the basil looks good, the hot peppers look good. This is, you know, the vertical tower that I'm affiliated with. This is GreenStalk Garden. They really work. You can really pack in different plants at different times and just have, you know, a beautiful vertical tower. That's a little 2-foot footprint right down there. But I'm proud of this. Only because people said, you know, you're not going to be able to grow peppers in there. They're not going to grow. Always like a challenge. There are 6 in here. That is a lot of pepper plants. If you're really doing this for the first time, if you want your, I don't know, if you want it to be just a little bit easier, instead of putting 6 peppers up here where they're going to require a lot more water, put in 3 and maybe put in the basil in between there. So if you kind of mix up how you plant the different plants that demand different nutrients, different, you know, amounts of water into the pockets, these are 7 gallons, they're going to do pretty well. But this looks beautiful. Spinning around, let's go this way first. So I have been spraying the butternut squash. I mean, there's one right in there. We'll do a quick count. Let's see. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's just 8 in this little space. I'm sure there's more. There's one down there, 9. There's probably another 15 or 20 butternut squash in here. They look really well. Green growth is still coming. No diseases on the leaves. They have been getting sprayed a little bit more. But the whole key is I've been just watering this over and over again. Not to the point it's drowning. It's really hard to overwater plants that are in the ground. But to keep that moisture, I'm going to stress this probably for the next, I don't know, 5 or 10 years. The top 4 to 6 inches moist, get the water deep. The plants really love it. So here, it's 2 plants right in that space. Look at how they've spread out all over. And it's still going all the way down there. That is all growth from the butternut squash that's growing right in there. And they look good. So today I definitely, well, this week, definitely want to get another fungicide sprayed on here as preventions, because I don't want powdery mildew to come in, and they're doing so well. These will be squash that I store. This whole space is going to be cleared out. Shade cloth's going to go in here. The root crops are going to come back. You know, we'll see how it goes. Beans look good. These are the yard longs. They're wonderful. They're about a little bit past their prime here, but if you have trouble growing the green beans, sometimes that Mexican bean beetle comes in. They tend to leave the yard longs or the Asian beans alone, and I think they taste really, really good. So where do we want to go in this jungle? This is, I mean, doing well. There's potatoes in there. Another wave of potatoes coming up. This is the potato video I did maybe a couple weeks ago. That's starting to come up. The whole key that, you know, I've been reinforcing is waves of plants. So when the diseases come in and take out a plant, you have other ones growing. Let's actually come over here. So this is one zucchini plant. Let me step back, put my hand in there so you can get the idea of the size. One zucchini plant, seeded 44 days ago on June 14th, not a transplant, for my series on growing your food security. I wanted to show people in this little strip what you could grow if you want to get started. That's a cherry tomato. It's been really doubling, tripling in size every week. That will even be bigger now, and it will grow more quickly now that it's bigger itself. So they kind of exponentially start taking off. As they get bigger, They pull in more sunlight, get more energy, you know, all that, and then they get larger. So that will probably be producing maybe in 2 or 3 weeks. That was a late planted tomato plant, June 14th by seed, but it's doing really well. Green beans, they're going to be producing in another week or so. All the plants that you see here, 44 days old. Coming in here, so about, oop, just broke that off. And that was a vine. Oh, that was the growing tip. And you know what, that's okay because I'm out of room. So be gentle when you go in there. They will sprout out in other places. So here's a zucchini that's ready to pick. Another one. There's one more zucchini in there. We won't go through that. But this plant, 44 days, is producing. So if I drop the seed now, because it's so warm, because the soil is warm, you could get new zucchini plants producing about September 10th. So if your frost date isn't coming till later October or November, you can grow this plant. And it is so healthy. I mean, there is just little disease on the leaves, and there's something said for starting your plants from seed, because that root system really just develops well and it's ready to support all this great growth. When we put in transplants, sometimes we have great green growth, but the root systems are constrained and the plant has to adjust and figure it out, so they stay smaller. But just look how big one zucchini plant is. I could have put another one in here. That would have been enough zucchini, you know, for my wife and I. Horseradish plant is doing really well. Hidden right in there are 3 or 4 pepper plants in a 20-gallon root pouch. They're doing well. So we'll spin over to here. This is the fungal issues that are coming and affecting my cucumber plants. They've been sprayed, so I think they'll be okay. But this just rolled in. You can check out the video on my channel on using hydrogen peroxide on anthracnose and fungal issues. A lot's going on. The spray is controlling this. We'll see how they go. There's a little guy right in there. Let's spin around to the front of it. So when you're spraying and trying to manage insects, you're looking for new leaves that are coming up that are untouched. That means you're getting the problem under control. So cucumber down here, let me take that one off. That one's ready to come out. You don't want your cucumbers to get much bigger than that. I don't have a solution for bitter cucumbers. Nobody really does. I think it's a watering issue related to the heat, related to stress. If you want a cucumber that's sweeter, pick it somewhere right around there. They're going to be better. There's another one up there. So the plants are doing well. They're producing. The diseases have rolled in. We have some more beat up plants, or plants that are beat up more. Green beans are doing well. I've kept the Mexican bean beetle at bay. So this is a harlequin beetle. And I'm going to smash that. So in here I had my kale. Oh, look, right on cue. And I took care of the white flies with soapy water spray, but then literally dozens of harlequin beetles moved in. Here's another one. And instead of spraying the kale again, dealing with a new pest that rolled in, I decided to strip the leaves down. As long as the stem is not rotted, doesn't have any problems, this is going to regrow. So this was just an easy way for me to say, you know, forget it, strip the leaves down, took away what that harlequin beetle was enjoying, and sprayed it again. Just checking, like if the stem starts getting a rot in it, you have to cut it off or just remove it. But this is all going to grow back, you know, and I am planting up other waves of kale to overwinter and all that. Pretty much a mess in here. We're not going to walk too far in there. Beets are good. The chives are growing, not the chives, it's about 15 minutes, 10-15 minutes on medium heat. Add in the tomato and basil now. And you just want to cook that maybe, I don't know, 5 minutes till it's warmed through. Cracked in 2 eggs, this will be for breakfast and lunch. Really simple, right from the garden, and keep watching, I'll show you how I eat my breakfast. Now, just kidding about that. The leeks are doing really well. I've been using those. I will actually pick some of those for the potatoes that I'm making for breakfast. Basil in a shadier area where the soil is staying cool, it's just doing great. It's got some beetle damage, probably those darn harlequin beetles, maybe Japanese beetles. they're pretty good. I don't like spraying my basil because it's tender. I'm going to be eating it, so I just kind of let it do what it does. Tomato is popped up in there. Maybe I'll keep it there, trellis it up, I don't know. More likely I'm going to be putting peas in there. Celery's looking good. It's not going to really create stalks, but that's perfect for stews. It'll be perfect for fall stew. The leaves are delicious. That's an okra plant, looking good. That will be producing, it is actually producing now, but it'll really start producing probably in another 10 days or so. Let's come around here. The tomatoes, they're doing really well. So with all this heat, we get 90-degree temperatures again. You may see die off on the inside. That's just, you can't do much about it. High temperatures, maybe you're not watering perfectly. You're going to see a lot of yellowing of the leaves. If you start watering, they'll look a little bit better. But I'm happy with how these guys are doing. I always inspect my brandywines. They will be usually the first ones that show any signs of diseases or issues, and they look pretty good. I mean, not so bad overall. This is, you know, something you don't really have to worry about. That pattern really comes from the plants just being beat up from high temperatures. One of my favorites are the Homesteads. Look at all the tomatoes in there. They're going to be producing. Here's a good example of leaf disease, fungal issues, and you can see that those leaves are dying off. I've started spraying again. So the goal is to help these guys obviously survive. You can remove those if you want to. I will be taking out a lot of them. But once you start spraying, you want to cover everything, including the soil surface. That just helps kind of manage whatever fungal issues you have going on. And it's doing pretty well. These were started by seed, look pretty good. Cucumbers that are over ripe, I'm letting them kind of sit there, and I'm going to be collecting the seeds. Your cucumbers will go from green to that color, and you want to pick them before obviously they get like that. Cantaloupe, out of control, which is a good thing. I have several of these laying around, so it's working. Some diseases on there, insects, but I want to just see how much I can really kind of cram into this space, and it's a lot. More cantaloupe, more watermelon. There's a watermelon that I started from seed. They're doing pretty well. Now this is well overplanted. You don't need this much plant in there. Only need one cantaloupe in there. You can see the leaves on the inside are all dying back. Anytime you have a vining crop, it's just the outside leaves that need to be kept. I could have really gotten in there sooner, removed all those inner leaves. That will slow down disease issues. That will remove homes for bugs. But they're just not needed. These outer leaves are collecting the sun. You're still going to get a lot of cantaloupe. It looks just like that. Here is my scallop squash plant that in a day and a half, when we got close to 100, the leaves wilted, they died off. I don't think it was bacterial wilt or anything like that. It could have been. There's no damage to the stem. I'm really contemplating maybe trying to save this plant. Leaves are starting to come back. The vine is growing at the end. But I sort of don't need it. Look at all the scallop squash. They're sitting there. I love the color. They get a darker orange yellow. I'm going to collect the seeds out of there. Actually, people were supposed to come and pick these up about 7-10 days ago, and they never did. So giving away food is harder than you think, to be honest with you. But I'm going to collect the seeds out of there, plant them along my perimeter, or maybe I'll just drop these along the perimeter of my wood line, and maybe next year scallop squash pops up. So this plant could be saved because the vine is intact. I would cut all the leaves back, give it a big drink of fertilizer, and you can see that the growth is okay. Good chance, you know, there's an issue going on. We'll see what I decide to do with that. This is my first cucumber plant that by now should be dead. The spray routine is helping. The disease all rolled in as I got lazy over the last couple of weeks. Started spraying again. They look pretty good. I just took out 3 cucumbers here yesterday, made some cucumber salad. There's one. That looks pretty good. There's 2 right in there. That looks good. 3. Whenever you get a cucumber that has a point on it, that's usually a pollination issue. In fact, that's rubbery. We're just going to remove that. Another one starting. There's probably more hidden in there. but it's still going pretty strong, and I'm always looking for the new growth at the ends of the vines, and the plants look good. And in fact, when I spray, I'll take more care really spraying around here, so that when I get tired of spraying, as I get down here and miss things, it's already the problematic leaves. Tomato plants are ready to be staked up again. I mean, just look at the growth, you know. The aspirin spray, hydrogen peroxide, as I've talked about, really works well. I mean, these guys are just out of control. So these will all get taken care of. And what I'm hoping to do this week, as I said, just clear out a lot of this stuff, get ready for really the fall. This is a zucchini plant. I did pick one zucchini. This one was put in as a transplant, and it is as old as the massive one you saw. And because I think it sat in a transplant container longer, it's just not taking off. You know, maybe you could say the sunflowers are competing with it, but I've just seen this pattern happen a lot. When you put in transplants that have been in the containers too long, their size is smaller. This is at least 45 days old, like that massive zucchini plant that I showed you that I started from seed. Coming in here, you can see I left the plant tone out. Lots of tomatoes ready from the first round. They look pretty good. Some yellowing in there. That's the mortgage lifter that tends to just yellow more quickly than the other plants. I don't think I'm going to grow that next year. Maybe next year I'm going to go with 3 varieties of cherry tomatoes, 9 varieties of other tomato types, and I'm just going to really pick the ones that do really well. The diseases did hit my jalapenos, or actually my peppers, using hydrogen peroxide on here to take care of it. And this space is a success. I talked about it last time. Just loaded with jalapenos. I'm going to be harvesting all of these. I hope to do a darn video. I keep putting this one off because, you know, when it's hot like this, there's so much to do. You got to give something up, and the videos are slacking off a little bit. Another cucumber plant. This was one in the series that I did a couple days ago, where I actually removed most of the leaves, started spraying, and cucumber, 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 3 more. Plants producing. If the diseases come, don't over stress about it. Get the sprays down, really water it in. When you prune off a lot, put some water soluble fertilizer down, you know, that will help more leaf growth. But these guys look pretty good. Mexican bean beetle, again, staying away from my purple potted beans. This one's dead. Let's get rid of that. All the leaves that are under here weren't really needed again, so they're dying back. But generally speaking, still producing. Not seeing the Mexican bean beetle. This happens from diseases and stuff, but also because I wasn't watering as consistently. This was drying out. When the plants dry out, they take the nutrients from the bottom of the plant, leaves, send it up to the top. So you have a lot of die-off on the bottom. This cherry tomato plant's taking off, and I'm just getting handfuls of cherry tomatoes now, actually bowlfuls. So I'm glad I stuck with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cherry tomato plants instead of 8, because I want to be able to use what I'm really harvesting. Give it away, of course, but I want to be able to, I want to grow what I'm going to use, have some extra, and start really planting new varieties of vegetables that I just haven't grown before, or new types. Basil, 3 kinds, cilantro. Getting this all ready for the cooler weather. Basil likes the heat, but really for September, I should say. The basil will be around. You really want to get that started when it's warmer. It'll hang around for a little bit. Some bush cucumbers down there from seed. The eggplant, remember, these were struggling from, if you've been watching the ramblings in the beginning, but they look pretty good now. This guy's finally coming along. There's a little eggplant on there. The white eggplant, been harvesting off of here. I staked them up. They look good. Those are supposed to be black beauties, and they look more like 8 balls, but I don't think I got the wrong variety. I mean, they look great. Nice and green. So if you just stick with your plants, even when they're struggling, you just think about disease management, pest management, water-soluble fertilizer if they're struggling, and just stick with them. When the conditions are right, they take off. The eggplant here in the next 2 weeks will be this tall. It's really cool. So hopefully I broke this off by mistake. It looks like I did. It's not a deer. I hope a deer hasn't gotten in here. So we're going to be looking for clues. Cherry tomato space. This variety is the Chadwick cherry. It's been cared for just like the rest of the tomato plants, and it's just beat up. The tomatoes are delicious, so I'll be harvesting those. You come over here to the black cherry, and the plant looks great. There's some marks on the leaves. Move that out of the way. That's the Chadwick. Some dieback, but it's a pretty prolific and solid cherry tomato plant. This is what they look like when they're ready to go. You can tell when you're different colored tomatoes, if you push on it, it's kind of rubbery and your thumb will leave a little imprint on there. That means they're ready to harvest. But this plant is just massive, and we have a prop plane flying around. I guess somebody's getting their license. It's sort of loud, sort of annoying me. I think they should have cleared that with my airspace. Look at all the tomatoes in here. These are the super sweet 100s. Doing better, but not as good as the black cherry. So you, again, I've said this before, plant different varieties, keep the ones that do really well. I mean, look at all these future black cherry tomatoes. Giant duck marigolds. I do like them in here. Want to just give you a look at how well the pepper plants are doing in those containers. Cayennes are turning red. Lots of harvesting coming out of here. Asparagus is doing their thing. Mexican sunflower is absolutely beautiful. It's a giant plant. It's bringing in the butterflies. That is a tomatillo, looks pretty good. Onions I've just been pulling out. I'm not even curing them, you know, letting them get their 7, 10, 14 days outside, get a nice hard skin to it. I'm just eating them that quick. In fact, let me grab the one down here. That will go in, whoop, today's breakfast. Now I got to clean the lens. I think I got water all over it. All right, quick clean. Let's go over to the shishitos. They've been struggling. They have been really getting a fungal issue. I've been spraying. I'll keep spraying. I just want to show you how prolific they are. Juliet tomatoes, they're all going to come off, go into a tomato salad today. So I'm happy with where the garden's at, because it could look like this, what I'm going to show you. And I would just kind of want to show you, my garden gets out of control, just like yours. I am tired of this heat, tired of having to change shirts 2 or 3 times a day because, you know, it's just so humid here. Globe artichoke, right in there, that is my ginger. This experiment has worked, giving it a place where it stays nice and warm. It likes that, but not so hot. The blueberries are kind of shading that area. This is all right in here, in case you don't know. That's ginger. And I would just go straight down there and I'll be able to harvest that in a couple of weeks. Even this space looks pretty good. I'm getting in there, pulling out the weeds, just dropping them to the ground. I just throw them down like that. Strawberry towers, going to be doing a whole series on just cleaning these up. These are actually pretty healthy. They're just drying out from the high temperatures. So here are the shishitos. If you let them turn to a brown to red, their flavor changes a little bit. There's fungal issues on the leaves. Healthy leaves are coming back. You just keep up the spraying. But so prolific. Even with the problem on there, they're doing okay. Next year I hope not to have to deal with the fungal issues. This is what my whole garden could look like. Nothing is growing in here really, except some transplants I never got out. Even, you know, the cold frames. But this is how quickly a garden can get out of control. Left alone for 14 days, maybe longer. All the rain, the warmth, you know, stuff just takes over. Maybe we'll finish up right over here. So here are the pepper plants. I forget how many are in there that I put in to really just do bell peppers, and they got leaf diseases. I've been spraying. Should have done better with getting the soil up to the right height, but they are producing. I have peppers right in there, some purple beauties to harvest right in there, but they're dealing with the same issue. And this disease is staying right in this space and then right over to where the jalapenos are, right over there. They haven't jumped across to the peppers that are in containers. This is the plant that was most beat up, so I'll look up this variety. Maybe I won't plant that again. So I'm still going to be looking, you know, for fun at plants that do well, pepper plants that seem to battle the fungus or the fungi issues better, and I'll make, you know, plans next year based on that kind of information. You really want to have a plan in place, because I am tired of gardening right now. It will go away. It goes away every year about the second week of August. So I'm going to push myself to really get this under control, keep the summer production going, get in my new plants, but more importantly, I'm already looking forward to the fall garden when it's going to be cooler. I'll have lots of salads and leafy greens and all kinds of different things. Thanks so much for watching. It is not too late to plant. It is not too late to plant crops that can be ready in 45 to 50 days, like your zucchini and your cucumber plants. Again, thanks for watching. Please check out my seed shop at therustedgarden.com. Hope you get your energy back. If you got something out of control, slowly get it under control. Take care.